call the meeting to order, and I'll start with roll call on my left. Kathy Mestimaker Harris.
June Gagne.
Carly Stardon.
John Meyer. Brian Bright. Mark Reeds, Council Commission.
Samantha Greaves. All right. So we do have a quorum, and I'll be appointing Zulfikar Ali for Frank Mills and Kathy Mestimaker Harris for Dan Kapskevich. We are opening the public hearing. So before we get started, just a couple housekeeping items. Emergency exits are to the back here and out that way. So in the event of emergency, front or back. The first two public hearings on the agenda are both by the applicant Costco. These are continuations of last month's public hearings on a text amendment and zone change. To be clear, this is not an up or down vote on a Costco project, but rather a vote on whether we should be amending text amendments and whether we should be making zone changes, which could allow a project such as Costco. So just to clarify what we are and are not doing. For anyone who spoke at last month's public hearing, you are not required to speak again. Your comments are part of the public record that the board will already be considering, so you do not have to repeat any points from last month. The applicant will be presenting some of the information we requested last month, so if you have questions or comments of any of the information regarding the text amendment or the zone change application, you are welcome after they do their presentation to step up to the microphone and make those comments. If there is a speaker whose comments you agree with, you do not have to repeat their comments, but you can come up and say that you agree with that speaker. So just for those ground rules to be set. And I am now reopening application 25-6ZC of Costco Wholesale and application 25-5TA of Costco Wholesale. And applicant, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is John Duff. I'm an attorney with an office at 42 Cherry Street, Milford, Connecticut. And can I be heard okay? It's hard to tell. I just want to make sure the microphone. Okay, terrific. Thank you. So as you noted, Madam Chair, this is a continuation of our zone change and regulation amendment applications. I'm here tonight on behalf of Costco, as well as the four property owners: Butch Bridge LLC, P&J Holdings LLC, P Camp Holdings LLC, and 1197 Norwich Road. The zone change application is for 202 acres, 60 acres of which are currently industrial 1, and we're proposing the change of all those parcels to industrial 2. You would ask, Madam Chair, that we provide larger, more legible zone change maps, which you should have received, much larger, so I'm happy to answer any questions regarding that. But also, we also made, I think, some very substantial changes to the regulation amendments that we had first proposed, and really it's an indication of our desire to work collaboratively with the Commission, so I'd like to review what those changes are from the application that we first submitted for the regulation amendments. And I know that, the one that you were okay with, Madam Chair, was that the town line would not be considered a lot line, which I think is appropriate. But the first one you had a concern about was the retaining wall. And what the original regulation amendment application said is that they shall be permitted within the setback area. So what we've done is a rather substantial change. So now it will read, notwithstanding any other provision of these regulations, retaining walls may be permitted within 25 feet of a property line in the I-1 and I-2 districts, provided that the abutting parcel is at the top of the retaining wall. So typically you have a 50-foot side yard setback requirement, so you still have a minimum 25-foot setback requirements, and so the abutting property owner, importantly, would not be looking at a large retaining wall. What they would be looking at is they would be looking over the site, and you'll recall at the last meeting, we showed cross sections of how we would create a berm, and so those neighbors who would be nearby our site would be looking over that retaining wall that would be providing screening to those neighbors. So that was, I think, a very important change. The next change was the building design guidelines. You'll recall that our original application said that we didn't have to comply with any, or they didn't apply in our zone. So again, a very substantial change. And so now what it reads is, at the request of the applicant, the Commission may modify any building design guideline by a majority vote after considering 1, whether the building will be open to the public, 2, whether it will be visible from a public vantage point, and 3, whether the guidelines are incompatible with the building's overall function and design. we thought a lot about parsing through all the building design guidelines and identifying which should apply and which shouldn't, and it really just became very unwieldy, particularly since we don't have a full building design yet. So we frankly handed the discretion back to the commission, and we're happy to have that discussion when we get to the site plan special permit application, hopefully at some point in the near future. So all those guidelines are back on the table, and we can discuss those with specificity in the context of an actual building, an actual design, so you don't have to waive anything when we first, at this point.
Mr. Huff, excuse me, for the record, Mark Grants, Council of the Commission, just a couple of times, Attorney Huff, you've said that this is a substantial change. I presume you mean substantial in the sense of addressing the question that was put to you by the chair last month?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
If
Not substantial in the sense that it exceeds the scope of the legal
No.
notice.
So, thank you, Mark, I appreciate that. No, it was substantial in terms of indicating our desire to work with the commission and to respond to the chair's request. And so, I believe it was a substantial change to the better for the town and for the commission from what we originally proposed. So that was the point. And I think what Mark is also addressing is that when you propose a regulation amendment in a public hearing and there is a change during the course of the hearing, we are making this more restrictive upon ourselves. So there's no notice issue. So we can't make it more lenient, but we can make it more restrictive, and that's what we've done in the 3 instances in where we've made the modifications. And so the last one, you'll recall that when it came to light poles, we also waived that requirement, or we proposed a waiver, the 20-foot height requirement, and so we have modified that to say the maximum height of lighting fixtures shall be 20 feet, except that the maximum height of lighting fixtures shall be 37 feet in tractor-trailer parking or access areas when located on parcels greater than 100 acres within the industrial 1 or 2 zones. I had a couple of very helpful conversations with Ryan, who told me that, I guess at Uline, they actually got a variance for the height of their poles. It just seems sort of not the best methodology of getting that sort of relief. And so we want to, obviously work with this commission and propose a specific height limitation. And obviously, if you have tractor trailers, the lights need to be higher than those tractor trailers. So,
And I'll just say, shall should be may.
okay. Well, you certainly have the ability to
Correct.
make that change.
Yeah.
So those are the changes. As I said, we provide you with better, clearer mapping. We responded to the 3 concerns with regard to our regulation amendments in a way that I think will be well received by the commission. And so we're happy to answer your questions. Our full team is here. There's a few replacements from last time. Our traffic engineer is Chris Teisler. Our economic development expert is now Don Poland. But Seth is here, Michelle is here, so the whole team is
Do
here.
you have this to project to the audience?
Yeah, we're happy to, sure.
Yes, please project that, because one of the questions that came up at the last public hearing, which I asked for clarification of, was when something is labeled 0, where is it located on the road? So for those who don't know, 0 doesn't necessarily mean the end of a road. It could be any unmarked parcel. So a parcel that doesn't have a driveway could be marked 0. So it could be at the beginning, middle, or end of the road. So there was some confusion from the public last time where exactly the parcels were on the roadway. So what I've asked is for them to more clearly mark it so that you can see exactly where those parcels are. So if you could please, thank you.
So if the mic can travel, I think it might be easier if I can just approach the text.
Yep.
So we are proposing the rezoning of 5 parcels. The first parcel is 1197 Norwich Road. That parcel is approximately 59.8 acres, and that is currently zoned Industrial 1. The next is 0 Tarbox Road. That's the 0. As you said, Madam Chair, it's not the end of the road. It's just that there's no house on it, so no address has been assigned to it. That property is about 29 acres. It's owned by Camp Holdings. This is 407 Tarbox Road. That is approximately 107 acres. And then there's two slivers along the western line of, with the town of Canterbury, approximately 8.1 acres and 4.5 acres. Those are parcels that really go over to the other side of the town line of Canterbury, but they are included in the zone change. So those are the 5 parcels. I think that the ones on P&J and also Butts Bridge, they may have a 0 address as well, but I think the one you're probably most concerned about is this 0, Tarbox Road. So those are the 5 parcels that we're proposing to rezone to I-2. I'm happy to stand here if you have any questions.
Any questions from board members before I open it to the public? Okay, so this is a public hearing, so this is your opportunity to ask any questions or make any comments about the text amendment change or the zone change request. So if you could please make a line by the microphone over here, state your name and what your comment or question is. Yep, and if you could form a line so that way, just one at a time.
Hello, Angela Fuller, and I live on 22 South Street. I did speak last time, but I was very unprepared, and I did quite a bit of research this time. So, Plainfield has been growing for the past 30 years, and it is in the town's best interest to maintain the historical and rural landscape. The town should make every effort to preserve this historic and rural landscape, and commercial and industrial development should not take precedent. That is directly from the Plan of Conservation and Development. There are 13 listed intents and/or goals outlined in the POCD: to maintain air quality, to maintain water quality, to preserve major portions of the town in their natural or nearly natural state, thereby preserving the town's scenic resources, wildlife habitat, and natural resources are just a few of the goals listed. Are those objectives being sought out or upheld? Have we forgotten them? Lowe's, Amazon, Western Express, Ritchie Brothers, Auction, Uline, have we not given up enough of our rural landscape? Is having another warehouse making every effort to preserve our landscape? Or are we allowing commercial and industrial development to take precedent? At the last meeting, Costco representatives laid out their plan to develop 200+ acres with many seemingly shiny promises to residents, stating they would only build on a portion of it and leave a third of the site undisturbed. How exactly does that happen? The proposed site is right next to a protected aquifer according to the deep maps. How will that remain undisturbed? Abutting 2 small subdevelopments in our town, but they'll remain undisturbed? It is mere feet, not miles, not even quarter miles, but mere feet from my backyard. How will our neighborhood remain undisturbed? Costco stated there would be an additional 2,884 new tractor-trailer trips and 1,240 car trips on our roads. But don't worry, it'll be undisturbed, right? Our air quality, water quality, quality of life, and preservation of wildlife habitat will all be very much disturbed. Why is Costco pursuing our rural area? Why would they want to build in a residential area between 2 quiet, long-standing subdevelopments as opposed to the original options in East Hartford or Killingley, which are already zoned industrial? East Hartford is surely closer to their existing retail locations, and both Killingley and East Hartford have much higher unemployment rates than Plainfield. There were several people who spoke in favor of this at the last presentation. People from surrounding towns or neighborhoods, none of them living in close proximity to the proposed area. Why would they have a say? It's not in their backyard. It's not disturbing their way of life or their investment. Several union members spoke of how they would benefit from the work with the construction. These construction unions move from one job to another. They do not benefit Plainfield. They benefit themselves just like Costco. Costco came in here promising jobs and great wages, touting their great benefits and quoting their mission statement to continually provide our members with quality goods and services at the lowest possible prices. In other words, they're about making money, not to be a good neighbor, not to be a good steward of the environment, but to sell goods and make profits. I reached out to Costco and asked for a number of employees living in Monroe Township, New Jersey, the next closest distribution center, compared to the total number of employees there. They refused to provide either number. To be fair, I reached out to Amazon and Lowe's as well. Neither of them wanted to provide the information. Well, I wonder why. Wasn't that one of their big selling points? All the people in Plainfield who would be hired at great salaries. I should also point out that according to the Department of Labor, Plainfield has a 4.3% unemployment rate, equating to only 354 residents out of a labor force of 8,219. And those great wages, $26 to $30 an hour. In 2023, the United Way published a report that stated a basic survival budget for one person in Connecticut would require a minimum of $31.50 for basic survival. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're here to discuss zoning amendments, step one of our downfall. If these amendments are approved and Costco begins, there's no going back. A lesson Monroe Township is quickly regretting. Now that Costco has a foothold there, they are building more and more than their original plans, slowly expanding and eating away at their community. Costco has faced multiple lawsuits and quiet settlements in how they handle and dispose of hazardous waste. They've been fined by the EPA for Clean Air Act violations, have several environmental review lawsuits. Public data shows over 100 penalty records since 2000, exceeding $98 million in penalties and fines. But don't worry, Plainfield, they're going to be a benefit to our town, right? Our little neighborhood has been here since the 60s. The people in our neighborhood chose to build here or move here based on the rural landscape, quiet atmosphere, and great neighborhoods to raise our families, not to profit or disturb the environment. I implore the zoning board, do not allow these amendments, do not allow the further destruction of our rural landscape. Be the responsible stewards of our town that we've elected you to be.
That was a written statement. Can you give that to us?
Sure.
That'd be helpful, thank you.
I email you a copy of it, or do you need it right now? I wrote my notes on the back of it.
Oh, okay, I thought, I could tell you you were reading them, so that'd be
We
helpful.
can get her a copy back, right?
Okay, yeah, you can give me your copy now. Sure.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Just makes it easier for the
Yes.
secretary.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Pauline Blaze, South Street. I also request that the commission not grant this zoning change to industrial with the proposed Costco warehouse. The warehouse itself will be built in Canterbury. The zoning change affecting Plainfield portion of the land at this time will be for a road and a parking area, according to Costco's plans. Of course, my reason is personal. My property directly abuts where Costco wants to build. Let's talk about the issues of this zone change. The biggest reason people are advocating for it concerns jobs. I recognize the unions represented in the back of the room. They want this project for the jobs it will provide. I understand that. But if approved, your jobs will last, what, for a year, 2 years? We who live in the neighborhood will be affected by this long term. And we have no, it'll change our neighborhood forever. The current and previous town representatives said at the last meeting, Costco warehouse will bring jobs to our town. But there's been a lot of discussion on the Plainfield social media site regarding the jobs. And they're not promised to Plainfield residents. So maybe there will be some jobs for Plainfield residents and maybe there won't. Maybe those advocating for this project might feel differently if the Costco warehouse were going in their backyard. I've been a taxpayer in Plainfield for 40 years, so let's talk about the tax base. Will this project increase the tax base so that the residents will have our taxes greatly reduced? That's a question. Costco says the first phase of the project will be a warehouse in Canterbury. So Canterbury's tax base will increase. Then maybe later, a second warehouse in Plainfield. Will that be in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Never. There's no guarantee. But having a road through Plainfield and a parking lot, will that greatly increase the tax base? Will there be any kind of tax forgiveness to Costco if they decide to build a second warehouse in Plainfield? For those who drive anywhere near the traffic lights around the McDonald's area, the truck and the van traffic is already overwhelming. Add Costco trucks. One of the biggest downsides of this project is the increased truck traffic. My opinion is that Costco only wants the zone change in order to have a drive-through in Plainfield and quick access to the highway. What does this do to our roads? Who pays for the additional wear and tear that will come as a result of this increased traffic? Will the taxpayers be expected to put any of the cost of the infrastructure in order for this project to happen? Now, how about the lighting, which was just presented today, and the noise? If you happen to live around this facility and they have the entire property illuminated at night, every night, all night, property owners in the area will be affected by this. And during the construction phase, will we be able to enjoy the quiet neighborhood that's been part of our lives? Finally, after construction, the constant truck traffic noise will not be welcome to those of us who have to live and travel anywhere near the facility. To those making the decision about this zoning change and to our local officials, please note, all too often in situations like this, the folks with the most money get the advantage. Certainly, whoever bought up the property to sell to Costco will benefit. If Costco is granted this zoning change, they will get the advantage of quick access through Plainfield without too much neighborhood responsibility or taxation costs. So, Plainfield officials, please take into consideration those of us who've been here paying taxes for years and years and years. The only thing we want from our officials is to advocate for us in this matter. I want Plainfield to move forward, but not with more truck traffic. Thank you.
If that's a written statement, can you provide that to the secretary?
The copy of your
Just,
statement.
yeah, and if you need a copy of it, we need it. Thanks.
We understand that, and they'll get you a copy back.
Hey, it's just like a Democrat from the way.
Excuse me, this is a public hearing. If you have something to say, you can say it at the microphone declaring your name. We are not going to have the audience interfacing or interacting without having the microphone. We are going to respect the people at the microphone. So if you cannot control your own outbursts, I'll recess the meeting and have the police take you out. Stop. You have the microphone, ma'am. Thank you.
Holly O'Shea, Sterling Hill Road. So I just have a couple of questions. What happens if Costco backs out of the Plainfield side of the building? Does Plainfield have to approve the zone change prior to their commitment to the actual building? And why would we have to do a zone change to approve for the approval of a proposed access road?
So just to clarify, and we did talk about this at the last public hearing. So currently, the use that they want to pursue is not allowed in a residential zone. So in order to even apply later, they have to go through the zone change process first, okay? In the event that they do not apply for a project, the zone change is regardless of their project. So when we are making a zone change, we are changing the property regardless of a project. So in the event they decide not to pursue this project, the zone, if approved, would be allowing any I-2 use on that property. So we are looking at whether or not these parcels should be available for I-2 uses. So they could rezone these properties and then sell them to somebody else, and somebody else could come forward with any I-2 use. So there's a list of I-2 uses by right, meaning once it's rezoned to that, those uses are allowed, period. Then there's another list that is the special permit, which requires an additional process. So just to clearly answer your question, when you look at the regulations and you're looking at the I-2 regulation, so once again, this is not an up or down on Costco. This is an up or down on whether we want these parcels that they have out there to allow for I-2 uses. So when we're looking at I-2 uses, the permitted uses in an I-2, scientific, engineering, and research laboratories, business and professional offices, computer hardware, software, design, manufacturing, and assembly, warehouse and distribution, manufacturing, self-storage facilities, commercial agricultural buildings, brewery, contractor businesses, commercial electric vehicle, and prefabrication of cabinets and construction. So those are all by right. Should these properties be rezoned, then all of those uses would be allowed on those projects. Costco's proposed project would be one of the most intensive uses allowed in an I-2 zone.
But why would we want to change the zone if we don't have an actual commitment?
Because that is not dependent. So when we're looking at zone changes, we look at the plan of conservation and development. We determine where in town we want business and industry and where we want residential. So you cannot make a zone change dependent on a project. We do have something called the Plan Development District, which has more restrictions of that, but that's not the application before us tonight. The application before us tonight is, should these properties be rezoned?
Okay, I'm not for it, but, but the access roads that they're proposing, is that included in some kind of zone change, or is the access road?
Under the I-2 usage, that would be allowed.
Okay, so that has to be rezoned too. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Evening, Matt Marion, 41 Toper Road. I'm against the project because it'll be in my backyard basically, and I think it'll completely ruin, excuse me, the area. All the houses, the subdivision I live in will just be, you know, I'll look out my kitchen window at night and see an arena of parking lights out here, beep, 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 from the trucks backing up all the time. I think we have enough. I got Western Union at the end, or Western Express, or whatever they are. There's already enough stuff around us. Don't completely enclose us. And changing those parcels does that. So if you're going to do that, buy out all our houses and let us go buy a rural house somewhere else, because that's why we moved there. Want a rural area. Actually like to see the stars, not parking lights. You know? And I don't see the benefit to the town of Plainfield personally. The roads are all BNRs. The truck traffic is all on our roads. The police department will come from us. Fire support probably come from us. The water's coming from us. Where are we benefiting from this? A parking lot? And yeah, the unemployment rate is 4%. So I don't see the jobs. And not for nothing, I've worked in the town I've lived in maybe 3 years out of the 40 years I've worked at the same company. And somehow I don't think Costco keeps people from the same town either. That's probably why the lady couldn't get an estimate when she called up Costco, because people drive to work. I mean, you people may all live in Plainfield and work in Plainfield or volunteer, which thank you. But most people don't work in the town they live in. They drive. So they're going to build this thing. How many people are going to come from Plainfield to get a job there? I don't see the benefit to us. I don't see the water quality doing better. The noise will be horrible. I won't be able to go outside and have a burger on the grill because out here 18-wheelers backing up. And you do. As it is, the heavy equipment at the end of the road behind that chain link fence and barbed wire, that's such a beautiful thing to see now. I hear that in the morning. I can hear it all the way down my road. It'll be worse with these guys. Please don't enclose us. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Eric Brown. I own the property at 1231 Norwich Road, which is behind K&H. It abuts one of the properties looking for the zone change. I just wanted to speak on behalf and ask to let this go through. My property is a commercial property, and as a business owner, I moved to Colchester. I moved from Colchester to Plainfield. It's slowly to watch the tax base go up, which I did in Colchester. We started, we were down at the mill rate of 21, and over time that mill rate creeps up because there's no development in the town. Obviously, costs go up. So I think there's a benefit to the taxpayers' eventual benefit to keep the mill rate as low as we can. Being a business owner, that's one of the benefits of having a lower tax rate. It helps our business provide. I can have more employees, I can have more services, and I can help the community. I pull out on 1221 Norwich Road every day, and the traffic there, the cars go way fast. To have a light in that area would slow traffic down. I think it would be a safety benefit, having a little bit, something to regulate the flow of traffic down Route 12. It's people 70, 80, I have people pass me, flying by all the time. So something to regulate the traffic, I think, would be a safety benefit from this, It's easy to look at all the negatives, but there are some positives that can come out of this. So I just want to speak in behalf, ask you to approve the zone change. Thank you.
We did have a letter submitted by a resident, so I'm just going to read this into the record. It is Byron and Susan Beausoleil, 428 Charles Road. We have lived at home for over 40 years and have made a lot of improvements to make it our own comfortable place. This mega Costco distribution center that's being built 50 feet from my property line will totally ruin my quality of life and will cause many health issues. We ask that Costco and the town of Plainfield make us whole. Due to our very close proximity to the site, we have health concerns from construction, breathing in diesel exhaust, diesel particulate matter, and dust. Construction equipment creates high decibel noise, often greater than 85 decibels, that causes permanent, irreversible noise-induced hearing loss and tinnitus. We have concern about damage to our well and foundation of our house. How will construction traffic access the site during construction? Where will the construction entrance be located? Tarbuck Road is not appropriate for construction traffic. Please explain the change. I believe it was said town line is not the same as the lot line. There is a wooded buffer on the Canterbury-Plainfield line, which is also our property line, which was required when the land was mined for gravel. We request that this remains. Will the scrubs placed on top of the 20-foot dirt berm be replaced if they die? Rezoning land for possible future building makes no sense. The town should wait until there's an actual building proposal and we know what it's going to be used for, and then they give their contact information should the board want to contact them. Pass that down. Any other comments from the public on the text amendment or the zone change? Any other comments from board members or questions? And any additional from staff? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing for application 25-6DC and application 25-5TA.
I'll make that motion to close the public hearing.
I have a motion by June to close the public hearing. I have a second by John. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The public hearings are closed. We do have two other public hearings before we move on to old business. Yes. I named both. It was in the same motion. Yep. All right. So moving on to item C, 25-23SP of Frank Dapsis requesting a special permit for an accessory dwelling unit at 500 Green Hollow Road, Assessor's Map 21, Block 124, Lot 3, RA60 zoning district. We have someone speaking for the applicant.
Yes.
Yep. Come on up to the microphone and just give a brief overview of what it is that you want to do, sir.
Good evening. My name is Andy Rich. I live at 500 Green Hollow Road. So our intentions are to establish a living unit that will better accommodate both Frank Dapsis and my mother, Billy Joe Dapsis, so that
Hi,
the
Frank
living is more convenient.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the living is more convenient, so that we can give them something that's more accommodating in every way, both for access reasons and for health reasons.
Okay, thank you. Staff did note that the attached structure on the north side of the house was formerly a swimming pool that has been filled in. The accessory dwelling unit is 50 by 30, so it's 1,500 square feet. The house is 2,041 square feet, so the ADU, accessory dwelling unit, will be approximately 73% of the size of the house and is in compliance with the regulations for this size. Are there any public comments on this application? Any comments or questions from board members? Okay. Any additional comments from staff?
No, pretty straightforward.
Okay. Hearing and seeing no other comments, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by June to close the public hearing and a second by John. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Public hearing is closed. Moving on to item D, 26-1CU of Stephen McCormick, requesting a change in non-conforming use from a commercial kitchen to a private school in the basement of 33 Main Street, Central Village Church, Assessors map 1CV, block 86, lot 2, industrial 1 zoning district. All right, and we have speaking for the applicant.
Hi, good evening, Pastor Steve McCormick, 8 Wolf Den Road, Brooklyn, Connecticut. Our church began meeting here in Plainfield, I believe, let me see the exact, in 2021. We started meeting at the Quality Inn and having different families visit there in the conference room. And as some of you probably know, the Central Village Congregational Church has gone down in their membership, and they sold it to a developer who was going to convert the historic Congregational Church into apartments, and somehow the zoning regulations didn't match up with what his plans were. So then he realized, now I have a church that I'm not going to use. What am I going to do with this thing? So we put it back on the market for sale, but us being a small congregation, we couldn't afford to get a bank loan, so I went to the developer, went to the realtor and said, hey, can you seller finance it to us? So that worked out, so he seller financed it to us at a reasonable price. But we are a small congregation, but myself personally, I've been pastoring, was ordained in 1981, pastored several churches, been assistant pastor, did missionary work over in Puerto Rico for a couple of years. But I have a burden to help the community here in Plainfield and the surrounding area. So when this became available, in the past, I started a church in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we started a Christian school with an AC, which means Accelerated Christian Education Program. It's basically an open classroom concept. This was started in 1970. Hundreds, if not thousands, of churches across the country and around the world use this program. And so the walkout basement area of the Congregational Church that we purchased last October is roughly about, I would say, including the commercial kitchen, probably about 2,600 square feet, about 1,500 square feet of the open area with 2 handicap restrooms. And so what we're proposing is to have a small open classroom Christian school for up to 24 students, 1st through 12th grade. Possibly 1 to 2 teachers, depending on how many students we enroll. The program's called Accelerated Christian Education, ACE curriculum and program. The operating hours will be actually Tuesday through Friday from 8 to 5. We're basically having the same hours that you have if you went to any other school, but we're trying to consolidate it to save on utilities and staff. And we're proposing to open this September. If it doesn't open this September, the next year we're going to make sure everything's in order before we do that. I did have the fire marshal and also the building inspector come and inspect the property and the building, and so they'll probably give you recommendations. Of course, if we did get approvals for that use, we'll comply to all health and safety regulations, fire safety, and things of that nature. But we've submitted a floor plan to you, and also a narrative of what we're planning on doing. And I'm open to any questions you might have for me.
Okay, thank you. This is a public hearing, so if there's anyone in the audience with a comment or question on this application, this is your opportunity to step up to the microphone. Any comments or questions from board members?
I'm curious if you have enough parking there. How many will be on staff?
We just probably have like up to 2 teachers, maybe 3, maybe a couple of volunteers. I think right now we have, I believe, like 12 to 14 parking spaces. But you know, I think we have enough for this small group. That's the reason why we weren't asking for a large number of students, because we are limited in space. So we're just asking for up to 24 students to make sure we don't have any, parking issues, traffic issues.
I'm familiar with that building, and the one next door, and they share the...
Right, on Sundays, yes, we share the parking lot,
That's
right.
So,
Exactly.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions on this application? Anything else from staff?
No.
Okay. Oh, are you stepping up on this application?
I'm for this. I'm just curious about recess.
If you could just step up to the microphone and just state your name and your question.
Ronnie Morton, and I live right next door. I'm just curious about recess. We've got much of a playground.
Yes, if we do have like a recess or activities like that, it'll be a planned program where we actually will take them off-site to maybe the park or to a gymnasium. We're not going to be going to Ryan's backyard, even though he's a nice neighbor.
There's not much room there.
And he is a nice neighbor. He plows our parking lot for free, so he is a good neighbor.
By no means.
He is a good neighbor. But yeah, we'll make sure that you don't get disturbed.
All right, thank you. Any other comments or questions on this application? Okay, hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'm gonna check motion.
I have a motion by June to close the public hearing, a second by John. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, public hearing is closed. Moving on to the regular meeting, I call the meeting to order. Additions or corrections to the agenda? We did have it. So Brian just handed me the request to add under new business preliminary discussion for Plan Development District for 52 Green Hollow Road, and then a report of Commission Land Use Training. So could I have a motion to add that under new business?
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion by John to add to the agenda under new business item C and D, or sorry, E and other C.
I'll second.
I have a second by June. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, added to the agenda. Citizen participation. This is opportunity for members of the public to address the board on something that is not a closed public hearing or a pending application. So is there anyone who's here to address the board? Okay, hearing and seeing none. Moving on to the unfinished old business. Item A, application 25-6 of Costco Wholesale Corporation, requesting a change to zone of the following parcels: 407 Tarbox Road, 0 Tarbox Road, 0 Howe Road, 0 Pine Lane, and 1197 Norwich Road. So this is the zone change application. There are 5 parcels. The board does have the discretion to approve all 5, deny all 5, or indicate if they want to approve 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. So does anyone have items for discussion to start with? So I'll start. Looking at the Plan of Conservation and Development, when we look at the goals of what the Plan of Conservation and Development is intended to do, it does talk about provide opportunity for all households in Plainfield to live in a safe, sanitary, and attractive home and neighborhood. The town should strive to maintain the quality of life and to create a sense of community within our borders. So when we look at the proposed sites, one of them is already zoned industrial, and it's actually a more intensive industrial use. So for the board to consider changing that to a lower intensity use, I think might be a good idea. In looking at some of the other parcels that kind of spread across the back town line of Plainfield, 0 Howe Road, for example, goes behind and around, and then the 0 Pine Lane, it also sprawls. So when we're looking at the Plan of Conservation and Development, none of these parcels are identified as future development zones. However, the 1197 Norwich Road is already industrial. So you could make the argument that the abutting property, 407 Tarbox Road, could then also be zoned industrial to keep consistency in the zoning on that area of town. Then looking at 0 Tarbox Road, when we consider how, once again, it spreads out and abuts RA60 zoning, that may not be something the board wants to do in looking at keeping consistency with the Plan of Conservation and Development, respecting and taking part of keeping the integrity of the neighborhoods in the area, but finding balance between those two things. Because in everything we do, the goal is balance. So as we're looking at this, we do have flexibility because we are in our planning legislative mode, and we are looking at the Plan of Conservation and Development for guidance. So does anybody else have any other items for discussion on the plan conservation and development.
Well, I have the exact same section on page 4, folder, well, it's on page 4 online. And to provide the opportunity for all households in Plainfield to live in a safe, sanitary, and attractive home and neighborhood. And I don't think any of this is going to help that goal.
Any other board members have items for discussion on this application? Okay. So, as I stated when we opened this, we do have the option to rezone in entirety or to select specific parcels. Given the 1197 Norwich Road is already industrial and the 407 abuts that, I would not be opposed to rezoning those two parcels. But I would not include 0 Howe Road, 0 Pine Lane, or 0 Tarbox Road in the rezone. So do board members have any other items of discussion on those parcels?
We have an aerial photograph.
Try to speak to the mic.
Pull your microphone closer.
We have a photo that shows we have an aerial photo that shows the boundaries of these properties, and its relationship to the surrounding residential and industrial properties.
So I don't believe we have a large satellite photo of this property. There is a small location map listed in the upper left-hand corner, but I do not believe we have a full-size. Do you have in your?
I thought in their presentation they showed, we do have the slide deck.
Just tonight, this one does not include the satellite photo, but in the original presentation.
The original.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I thought the original presentation they gave us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just that location map. So this depicts the residential neighborhoods here, and this depicts the residential neighborhoods here. So these are all undeveloped.
This was part of the slide.
That's the one you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone else need to see a copy of that? I can pass it down. Correct. Yep. So you can see that jug. So that's the jug. All right. And that was Kaylee's. Okay. Any other items for discussion on the parcels? So since it is a map change, when making a motion, it also needs to include the effective date, which would be the first day of the following month, so we would be targeting March 1st. So I'm going to go ahead and make a motion. I'm going to make a motion to approve 1197 Norwich Road and 407 Tarbox Road for a zone change to Industrial 2, effective March 1st, because it is in conformance with Plan of Conservation and Development and keeping consistency in that area. I am not including, just to be very clear, I am not including 0 Howe Road, 0 Pine Lane, or 0 Tarbox Road. So the motion is for 2 of the 5 parcels. So the motion is to approve the zone change for 1197 Norwich Road and 407 Tarbox Road only. Do I have a second to my motion? Hearing no second, my motion has failed. The floor is open if another member would like to make a motion? So is there another member who wants to make a motion? Now, if members feel that they do not have, or want to take more time to make this decision, we can also have a continuance. But because we have started deliberation, the 5 members who are currently present and serving would be required to be in attendance at the next meeting, because we cannot allow any other members to deliberate on this because deliberation has already begun. So the options before us is to continue deliberation to next month, or if a member has a motion they want to put forward for discussion and vote. My motion failed. So do I have another motion from a member for either continuance or for another application motion? I have a motion by John to continue. Do I have a second on John's motion? I will second John's motion. All in favor of continuance, say aye. Aye. All opposed to continuance? I need a vote from Ali and Kathy. Are you a nay? Okay, so we're going to have a roll call vote because that is a split vote. So the motion was to continue deliberation of this application to next month. John Meyer? Carla Desjardins? Aye.
June Gagnon, no.
Kathy Messmaker-Harris? Aye. Zulfikar Ali? Aye. So the continuance passes 4-1, which means this deliberation will continue to our next meeting, which is March 10th. All right. So moving on to the text amendment. So in the text amendment, they were requesting some modifications to requirements. Originally, the application included language that was complete waivers. They have submitted new language per the request of the commission in the last month. And it included language that said the board may allow modifications to some of the requirements, which gives the board discretion to keep the current regulation or to allow for some variation. So just to review, and staff submitted some revisions. So I'm going to read the staff revisions, which include the may. So under item C, originally it was notwithstanding any other provision in these regulations, retaining walls are permitted within any required yard. That has been revised to notwithstanding any other provision in these regulations, retaining walls may be permitted within 25 feet of a property line in the industrial 1 and 2 districts, provided the abutting parcel is at the top of the retaining wall. So that is changing language to may. The town line shall not be considered a lot line language. There was no changes to that originally submitted language. Under the building design, at the request of the applicant, the commission may modify any of the building design guidelines by majority of vote after considering whether the building will be open to the public, whether it will be visible from a public vantage point, and whether the guidelines are incompatible with the building's overall function or design. For the site lighting, this was the 37 foot, so what the applicant had submitted said except that the maximum height of lighting fixtures shall, so we are changing that to may, so that the board may allow 37 feet in tractor trailer parking access where located on parcels greater than 100 acres within industrial 1 or industrial 2. So the application before us, the motion would be to accept the text amendment with the revisions as presented by staff.
Okay. Approved.
Sorry?
Approved, not accepted.
Sorry, approved. The motion would be to approve the text amendment as revised by staff with an effective date of March 1st. So do I have a motion on that application with those conditions as read?
I will make a motion.
I have a motion by John to approve as read with staff revisions. Okay. motion by John to approve and an effective date of March 1st? And with an effective date of March 1st. Do I have a second on that motion? I will second that motion. All in favor of approving the text with staff revisions effective March 1st, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
And since it's a split decision, we are going to go to a roll call vote. John Meyer? Carla Desjardins? Aye.
Julie Agnew, no.
Kathy Messmaker Harris, aye. Okay, so the application has been approved by a 4-to-1 vote with the revisions presented by staff. Item C, and actually, Attorney Brandt, I'm just going to give people opportunity to clear if they weren't interested in any of the rest of our agenda.
Do you want me to?
I don't think we need your access for any of the other applications, I don't believe. So ladies and gentlemen, if you were here tonight for the Costco applications, the zone change has been continued to March 10th. The text amendment was approved as noted with the revisions. We are going to take a 5-minute recess, so if you would like to clear the room, please feel free to. We do have a large agenda to continue with, so you are welcome to stay for the remainder of our agenda. We'll be back in 5 minutes, so please, if you're not staying clear, if you are staying, 5 minutes. All right, Brian, you got our reporter. We are going to reconvene, so if you're staying, please stay. If you're leaving, see you next month. Thank you for your patience to our other applicants. Thank you. All right, so we have reconvened at, what time is it, Brian? 8:02. All right, so we have reconvened. Item C, 25-23 SP of Frank Daxis requesting a special permit for an accessory dwelling unit at 500 Green Hollow Road, Assessor's Map 21, Block 124, Lot 3, RA16 zoning district. So this application did meet all regulations. Is there any conditions for approval noted by staff?
There were none.
Okay, so there were no conditions of approval. Any items for discussion on the application?
It's pretty straightforward.
All right, I have a motion to approve by John and a second by June. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Application is approved. Item D, 26-1 SPL of Richmond Enterprises, LLC, requesting site plan approval for 3,600 square foot package store at 5-7A-7B and 0 Putnam Road. Existing store with apartments to be demolished. Assessor's Map 1CV, Block 82, Lots 11 and 11A, C2 zoning district. Do we have someone speaking for the applicant?
No, the applicant requested to continue to March 10th.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion to continue to our next meeting, March 10th. I have a motion by John to continue to March 10th. I have a second by Kathy. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, any abstentions? All right. Item E, 26-1CU of Stephen McCormick, requesting a change in non-conforming use from commercial kitchen to a private school in the basement of 33 Main Street, Central Village, Assessor's Map 1CV, Block 86, Lot 2, Industrial 1, Zoning District. Any items for discussion? There was a condition of approval, just making sure that they're in conformance with all building and fire rules. I believe that was the only condition of approval, right, Ryan?
I believe so.
All right, I'm just looking. I don't know why I can't find the page. I just had it. I haven't finished the big packet today.
Yes, in accordance with building code and fire marshal.
Okay.
Given that and given the fact that the neighbors in accordance with it, I
I have a motion to approve by John and a second by June. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Application is approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Moving on to new business. Item A, 26-1SP of Kaylee Pettit-Snelling requesting a special permit. So special permit does require a public hearing. So I'll entertain a motion to schedule a public hearing for March 10th.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by June to schedule public hearing to March 10th.
Second.
I have a second by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Public hearing scheduled for March 10th. Item B, 26-2 SPL of John Fowley's Boundaries LLC, requesting site plan approval for 3,360 square foot self-storage at 97 Ward Ave, Assessors Map 2M, Block 94C, Lot 6, C2 zoning district. Do we have the applicant here tonight?
The applicant requested to continue to March 10th.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to continue to March 10th.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by Kathy.
Second.
I have a second by June. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Continued to March 10th. Item C, Z 2021-2104, extension of RMD Land Development LLC site plan for 55 plus age restricted housing development located at 0 Tarbox Road, Assessors Map 10, Block 14A, Lot 47, RA60 zoning district. Now is the applicant here to present? Oh, come on up. You just give us a summary of what you're looking to do. Thank you. You just have the one copy.
Just the one, that's just how it's applied.
Okay, it's from 21. Got it. Floor is yours.
Michael Weiss here with Freehold Real Estate as option E on the property. We are requesting an extension of the special permit. I believe we are coming close to the end of the 5-year term here. Obviously, you need approval for the site development. You have a 5-year term, and you're entitled to a 5-year extension. In other cases, I think we referenced one in our letter to the planner. There was a case out of Fairfield. The Supreme Court found that special permits, extensions thereof, have to run concurrent with the extension of the site plan in general. So the thought is, if we get a 5-year extension on the site plan, we'd also like one on the special permit, and that's it.
Okay. So there's no modifications or changes to the plan. This is just to extend the timeline.
Exactly. We're working. There were changes requested that we are working on, but in terms of the extension today, no.
All right. So then moving forward, Brian, it would be a modification to a site plan.
No, so just for clarity, this is an extension of the site plan. The special permit does not expire as long as the site plan is still active. So they're looking to extend the site plan, and the special permit will run with that.
Got it.
Well put.
So then in the event they want to make changes, they still have to come back.
They would have to come back for modification. They are not proposing any changes.
And because it's a special permit, they would have to come back through the public hearing process with the changes.
Correct.
Okay, very good. All right. So since there are no changes at this time and they're just looking for an extension of timeline, I would entertain a motion to grant the 5-year extension.
I'll make that motion.
All right, I have a motion by June to approve the extension request, and I have a second by John. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Application is approved. All right, item D, 26, 1TA of Plainfield Planning and Zoning Commission submitting a text amendment to zoning regulations to create a C3 design commercial development district. Did board members have opportunity to read through the draft of that? Did you distribute that to all?
Just to.
Oh, okay. So what I would like to do is distribute that to all staff. So I'm going to say to continue that and not schedule a public hearing until board members have opportunity to read it if they want to revise it. I would rather do it one time, do it right. All right. So for next meeting, staff will distribute the draft of the C3 Design Commercial Development District, and then at our next meeting, we can review, make any changes we might want, and then if we feel comfortable with that text amendment, we can then schedule a public hearing after that. Does that sound fair?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to continue this.
I'll make a motion to continue this.
All right, I have a motion by June to continue. I have a second by John. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Application is continued. And then Ryan had added one item. Hold on, I buried it. Okay. So item E is preliminary discussion, plan development district for 52 Green Hollow Road, presented by David Held. Hello. And just reminder to members, preliminary discussion is a step in the process prior to submitting a formal application. We do not have an up or down vote on this. This is just to give the applicant direction in the event there's something that we want to see changed before they formally apply. Did I capture that, Ryan?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Again, for the record, David Held with KA&G Technical Services. I'm a professional engineer and land surveyor. Here on behalf of, hopefully, the future applicant, HAIS Holding LLC, who is the owner of 52 Green Hollow Road. For those of you who may not be familiar with this location, this is where New England Service and Controls is located. It's an HVAC company. And the subject property is in the RA60 zone. It's 2.74 acres. And you can see in the location map here, it's adjacent to I-395 and right off of the exit 32 off-ramp. And it's accessed by means of a right-of-way here from Green Hollow Road. The properties that abuts it at a point here to the northwest is Green Hollow Holdings LLC. That is Brian Sage's business where he runs his construction business and the decorative portable restroom rentals that he has there. So this is also in the RA60 zone, so it's an existing non-conforming commercial / industrial use, similar to what currently exists here at 52 Green Hollow Road. This is a residential property here, directly to the west. Directly to the north is another residential property. So the concept here, the business at 52 Green Hollow Road is successful, which is a wonderful thing for the town of Plainfield as well as the business owner. Coming along with that success, he has a need for additional storage space for inventory for things that he needs to run his business. Because of the nature of this being an existing non-conforming use, PDD would allow him to expand the business and keep it at this location. There's not really any other provision in the regulations currently to allow for that situation. So I've got a preliminary schematic site plan here showing 4 storage buildings at the rear of the property, which would be up against the I-395 right-of-way. The owner of this property has discussed the general idea of this proposal with the abutting property owners, including the 2 residential properties that I mentioned. They're generally in support of it. He discussed it with Mr. Sage. He has no issues with it. They do share. So the Jubenville residents, 52 Green Hollow Road, and Brian Sage's business share a common driveway, or at least a portion of it. And none of them have any issues with that. This is not something that would be generating any increases in traffic. It wouldn't be generating any increases in noise. I do want to go over a few minor things here. So when you're looking at a PDD, part of the things that your regulations specifically say in section 11.1 and 11.1.2 is that you're supposed to look at the POCD to see how this fits in with the surrounding neighborhood. I believe it's on page 41 of the POCD. There's a heading that specifically says that the POCD encourages the use of the PDD specifically for situations like this, to allow appropriate mixed use of residential, commercial, and industrial, provided that you have harmonious environment in the general area. The first thought was maybe we should just do a zone change to something that's more appropriate for the existing non-conforming use. This site's only a little over 2 acres, so it meets the 80,000 square foot minimum requirement for a PDD to be applied to it, but it would not make sense to do a wholesale zone change to industrial or commercial because that would be spot zoning. It's not adjacent to any other commercial or industrially zoned property. So with that in mind, PDD, I think, gives the best option for the property owner to expand a successful business while also giving the commission an appropriate level of control over how that might happen. So this is the first step in the process, is to have this discussion with the commission, see what the general take is on this, how you feel about it, whether you think it's appropriate, if there's any particular provision that we should put in a formal application that would give you a level of comfort with it. But I believe that what we're showing here meets the basic intent of section 11.1.1 and 11.1.2. I believe it fits in with the surrounding neighborhood. As I mentioned, you do have an existing non-conforming commercial and industrial use adjacent to it, and the property owner could discuss this concept with the 2 adjacent residential property owners. They have no issues with it. And I will point out something that is probably kind of important. I mentioned there's not going to be any increases in traffic, any increases in noise, things of that nature. These storage buildings are specifically for the use of this business. This is not an intention to build a self-storage facility and rent out space to anybody who's not occupying the property. So it's specifically for the property.
So my question was that the storage is purely for the business use and will not be open to the public.
Correct. Initially, there was a thought that that would be a nice option. When I brought that up with Ryan, it had obviously a lackluster response given where this is and what it is. And I discussed it with the property owner and he said, well, I mean, it would have been nice if it worked, but I don't really care. I need this for my own use.
Okay. So it's not like it's going to increase the customer traffic.
Correct.
It'll be status quo is what you know, but just having more storage.
Correct. He needs it for his equipment, for his inventory, things of that nature, yes.
Any other questions from board members on this proposal? Yeah.
Storage units we built all at once, or did we build as we need the space?
Like phased in?
The buildings themselves, I don't know. I don't actually have a clear answer for that. The site prep for them more than likely would all be done at once, because more than likely the most efficient way to do this is going to be to create a flat pad for all 4 of them at whatever elevation it's going to work best. The buildings that I think we'd be looking at would probably mimic the typical self-storage building because it's about the cheapest enclosed storage structure you can build, and it's also probably the most appropriate for this location because if you build something with a monoslope roof, you're probably looking at an E-height of maybe 14 or 15 feet at most. So very low visibility and trying to hide it in the landscape as best we can.
Okay.
So typical metal roof.
Yeah, typical pre-engineered metal roof, metal roll-up doors, that sort of thing.
And the height of the buildings would not exceed the height of the current existing buildings.
Correct.
Okay. Any other comments from staff on this proposal? So no formal motion or vote is needed on this, right?
No, just for clarity, this is just preliminary discussion. They will be bringing an application for you.
Okay. Any other comments from board members before we let the applicant go? All right. No additional comments?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. So if members would rather review those on your own time, and then we can approve them at the next meeting. We don't have to approve those today. Give members time. That was a hefty meeting minute.
I thought it was then, you know,
Oh, yeah, you might have. I think you did. All right. If members, I read it, but if members feel you had plenty of time to review the minutes, were there any modifications or changes to the meeting minutes?
I didn't see anything.
Okay. I mean, you're usually our equalizer.
Yeah.
All right. Then I'll entertain a motion on the minutes of the January 13th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Okay. Motion by June to approve. Second by Kathy. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting minutes are approved. Moving on to correspondence. Do we have any additional correspondence?
We do have one piece of correspondence. This is from Coleman and Conley. This is a proposed 50 megawatt ground mounted solar array. We located at 318 Sterling Hill Road in Plainfield. It says 0 Sugarbrook Road in Plainfield. I don't understand what that's about, so I'm not sure. And then also the survey.
Okay. And any other correspondence? Okay. All right. Report from zoning enforcement. All right. Nothing additional. Report from planning.
I have nothing.
Okay. Report from engineering.
No report.
No report. Okay. Under other, we have the discussion regarding advisory letter to Siting Council. That's in regard to the proposed trash plant. No application has been submitted to the Siting Council at this point. There are applications pending in deep. So no action to be taken on that item, but keeping it on the agenda so that it is on our mind. Review and discuss home occupation regulations. At our last meeting, we had talked about submitting any information to Katie. And then Katie will be drafting. Okay. Did members have an opportunity to review those? And do you want to review them at our next meeting and discuss them? Or discuss them today? I'm going to say discuss them next week.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right.
I'll attach them again.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, and then item C is the report on the commission training. So Ryan has distributed the report of commission land use training for 2025. Per Connecticut Public Act 21-29, all members of the Planning and Zoning Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals are required to complete 4 hours of Office of Policy and Management approved training every 4 years. Members that were not on the commission as of January 1st, 2024 were on the commission as of January 1st, 2024 were required to complete the training by January 1st, 2025 and every 4 years thereafter. Those that took office after January 1st, 2024 are to complete training within 1 year of taking office and every 4 years thereafter. Here are my records for 2025. Please let Ryan know if you've attended any training that needs to be aware of. Carla Desjardins attended Connecticut Bar March 22nd, 2025, and I am in compliance until December 31st of 2029. John L. Meyer, 4 hours in compliance until December 31st, 2028. Frank Mills, 1 hour compliance required. June Gagney, 6.5 hours in compliance until December 31st, 27. Kathy Messmaker-Harris, compliance needs to be required. I recommend Connecticut Bar. It's a great one and it covers everything. So you're good for 4 years if you take that one. So
That's not until next year.
Yeah, 27. Yep. Ryan will send any other trainings between now and then. But all for one is good. Dan Kapskevich attended Connecticut Bar March 22nd, 25, in compliance until December 31st, 29. Kevin Poppy, 0 hours, compliance is required. And then our newest member, Zulfikar Ali, compliance will be required by December 31st of 26. So you have to get trained by the end of this year. All right, and Ryan can forward any training. So if that sounds accurate to you, then Ryan will forward that report to the Board of Selectmen. So any questions on the required training? All right, hearing and seeing none. I see adjournment is our final item.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
All right, I have a motion to adjourn by June. I have a second by John. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.